Welcome back to Business After Business. I am your host, Commissioner Gordon. And joining me today, my man Henry, Kupcakerie. Welcome back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good to be here. Good to be here.
Yeah, how you doing, man?
Doing well. About yourself?
Pretty good. How is business going at Kupcakerie?
Business is great. Business is great. Everything's going well.
So, for those who don't know, talk about, first give your locations.
Okay. So yeah, we're in East Point, downtown East Point area. We're hoping to reopen our Grant Park store pretty soon. So just stay tuned for that.
And then let's get into the history of Kupcakerie, about how it all started.
So yeah, originally my wife, she was just kind of experimenting with cupcakes. Me and my younger brother had a DJing company in college, so I was more so just trying to help her on the business side. Long story short, she kind of fell out of love with it, but I was reading the Steve Jobs biography. Fast forward a couple years, and after reading it, I felt like I needed to do something tangible, like start a business, do something that will be a little bit bigger than me. Didn't really have a business idea, so we kind of circled back to the cupcake idea. I wanted to kind of get into coffee, so we kind of, long story short, combined the two ideas. So we created a bakery cafe style business. We started out of our apartment because we didn't have enough money to open a storefront, just delivering around the Atlanta area. We did that for about 2 years and opened our first brick and mortar in East Point, downtown East Point in 2016, and kind of been going strong ever since.
So you mentioned that you started out of your apartment and you kind of made deliveries. Again, how was that like? And that was what year?
2014 is when we officially started. So it's been 11 years now.
11 years ago, how was that promoting cupcakes, coffee delivered to you? Like, what was that process like?
Yeah, so we really didn't know what we were doing, to be honest. So kind of built a website just using one of the template builders and just started adding all our friends to like our Facebook group. So originally our first customers were all people we knew. It probably took about maybe a month or two before somebody actually purchased something.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So one of my friends from college was our first customer. We were just doing shipping, but we didn't really know how to ship cupcakes either, because honestly, we didn't know if anybody's ever going to purchase anything. So we didn't want to spend the money to invest in trying to learn how to ship. So of course, our first couple orders, everything arrived all toppled over. I was trying to ship cupcakes in bubble wrap, and I'm ashamed to even admit that now.
But with that, at that point in time, how does that go? So are you making the cupcakes to order? Because I'm assuming you don't have cupcakes.
Oh yeah, at that point we were definitely making them to order. So how we figured out how to ship cupcakes, I actually ended up buying cupcakes from another company that knew what they were doing, and then we just kind of replicated that. So probably after we started doing a couple of shipments, we thought about doing deliveries, which was easier, not as much hassle trying to figure out how to package everything. And it was cheaper, and we were able to kind of expand our footprint in the Atlanta area. So that's kind of how we started growing. I would say more so the local deliveries, and kind of moved on from there.
So going back to the shipping, if I ordered cupcakes from you, when would I get them?
You would get them whenever you got them, you know what I'm saying? So typically if you order on a Tuesday, we would rush home, bake everything on Tuesday, freeze it. Then we'd ship them on Wednesday, then you get them on Thursday. So that was typical time frame for it.
So once the order started coming in, you got everything right, you started making deliveries. About how long? So you said the brick and mortar was 2016?
2016, yeah.
So it took you about 2 years before you actually got up enough to where you can do what? So how much demand were you in before you said, you know what, I really need a facility for this?
I wouldn't even say it was demand from customers. It was more so demand on myself. Like, I knew I wanted to do this full time. And I knew we needed a brick and mortar before I could do that. Because with just the shipping and deliveries, it was kind of like a side hustle. And I knew I wouldn't be able to like quit my job with a side hustle, if that makes sense. So we did start getting a good amount of demand with the deliveries, but not enough for me to say this is enough to sustain a brick and mortar. It was kind of a leap of faith. So just knowing what vision I had, or, what we wanted it to be, we just knew we had to take the leap to open a brick and mortar. So I wouldn't say we were having so many orders that, we got to open a brick and mortar. It was more so just kind of the passion we had for ourselves and what the potential we saw in the company that made us take the leap.
What made you say that specific location in East Point? Like, I mean, knowing where it is and like it's a pretty good location. Like, what made you say that's the spot?
Hindsight is definitely 2020. Like, because we were open and we started building up a good clientele. Everybody's like, "Oh, that's a great location."
Right.
But when we were opening, nobody thought it was a great location, myself included. So we were looking into like Midtown, Buckhead, places you expect to see that kind of business. And I'm from East Point, so at the time we were living in Brookhaven, but I would always take Main Street when I go visit my parents and just drive the scenic route home. Because you know how Atlanta traffic is. You're not trying to be on the interstate. So we would be at the I would stop at a traffic light and I kept seeing this spot that was for lease. And first couple times I was like, ain't no way I'm opening no store at this point. Never. But looking at a lot of other spots, we didn't have the money to open in Buckhead, not even in like College Park. Like the rent at that time, College Park was already expensive. So one day I just kind of got out the car and we went and looked inside the space, and it had like the exposed ductwork, like had the wooden floor. So I was like, this space is actually kind of nice. So I called the number. The guy let us tour the space. He's letting us know that, East Point is up and coming. They're looking for like a coffee shop, bakery type deal. So we just kind of, from, that knowledge kind of made everything work. Even when we announced like to the public that we were opening East Point, like people who lived in East Point were like, don't open in East Point. Like this is not going to work. Nobody's going to come. There's no foot traffic. So all the stakes were against us. So again, it just goes back to, just that belief in yourself. And again, I'm like being from East Point, I think that helped too. Cause like, I'm not scared, you know what I'm saying? Like all the people I grew up with, I knew would come and support, which they did and still do. So I think that kind of was a cheat code for us to get in a space that was super cheap. And we knew that our network would help us, get open and get going. And we kind of just grew it from there.
So circling back, you said your wife started the cupcake company.
Well, she started experimenting with the cupcakes, but
before you actually grabbed it.
Mm-hmm.
Were you a coffee guy already?
No. So I didn't drink coffee at all. Probably until like I was about to graduate college, and even that was like frappuccinos, like milkshake type stuff, not like a real coffee person. But I read an article about third spaces, so places where people can congregate, meet friends, family. So I fell in love more with the coffee shop idea than coffee itself. But with that, I kind of got into coffee as well. So that kind of helped us, get our specialty grade coffee and like, the quality and everything that goes with it. So I'll kind of say that's how that kind of circled into it. More so the community aspect than like the actual product itself.
So, but that speak to that part about it though, because that's your idea of like everybody's idea of a business is something different. But to your point, you're saying you're having a communal space.
Yeah.
Having where people get together, meet up, and it's like a familiar area where you can kind of just get together with your friends. So yeah, I mean, that was always what your thought in the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. Even before we had a space, like I knew once we actually got a space that's what we wanted it to be, a community space. And once we opened, we had, like I was just telling Matt, we had a backspace that we didn't really know what to do with. We thought we would host our own events, but customers kept asking us, can they host their events? So we turned it into an event space, which turned into even more community. So not only are we bringing people together, like people are bringing their own people to our space. So we've had like East Point mayoral debates. We've had a lot of different entrepreneurs, vendors rent out our space. Of course, like baby showers, that sort of thing. But it was kind of rooted in the beginning that we knew we wanted a space for community. So how that looked, we weren't really sure, but we were kind of just open to however it flows. So that's kind of how I'll say our space became like what it is today.
So with that, like you already mentioned that you were you were looking forward to a grand reopening of another space. Talk about the idea of expansion.
The idea of expansion is way harder than it seems. I'll say definitely for people who have brick and mortars, going from 1 to 2 is harder than going from 0 to 1, if that makes sense. Because with just one store, you're the owner, you can kind of mask a lot of problems, and you're there most of the time. So you're hiding the cost of staff and everything, because you're not necessarily paying yourself what you would pay somebody else to be there.
That you don't know.
And then knowing all your systems and just being able to have people replicate things without you being there. And again, the expense of removing yourself is always greater than you think it would be. So those things, and then the lease itself that we had, we'll probably never do it again. It was kind of a shark lease, I would say. But we learned a lot of valuable lessons, and I'm glad we went through this because it's gonna help us a lot in the future. And I feel like if we didn't have this experience, we probably would be worse off than better off. So the space that we had in Grant Park, we're hopefully going to open another space in the same area and, take everything we learned from there and just do it way better. So, but definitely a lot of lessons learned. And, that's entrepreneurship. You just got to make sure you don't let those lessons kill you. You just, you grow from it, keep striving. What they say in entrepreneurship, just don't die. And what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So yeah.
So again, give the address to East Point, and then we'll look forward to Grant Park coming up to let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, so we're at 2781 Main Street in East Point. We're in the downtown East Point corridor, right on the corner of Main Street and West Cleveland. So yeah, come check us out. We're the neighborhood corner bakery. We do coffee, breakfast sandwiches, that sort of thing. Of course, cupcakes, cakes, anything for corporate needs, custom orders, everything. We're here to fulfill you.
And again, I think it's important now that we started mentioning it, you do have options for everyone.
Yes. So yeah, we do vegan, gluten-free. Again, if you're not into sweets, we have savory items as well, coffees, teas, that sort of thing. We have an event space to rent out for community events, and whatever you can think of, we've had it there. So just come check us out.
Yeah. So again, enjoy. Come down to Zuby's Taco Kitchen. Come down to Kupcakerie. Enjoy some cupcakes. Enjoy some coffee. Just have a great time at Kupcakerie. I mentioned the options for everyone because I have those people in my household that need that need vegan options. I have people in my household that can't do the gluten, and so that's where I go to get cupcakes. And I know I got options for everybody when I go home. So again, check them out, Kupcakerie. Check us out right here, Business After Business, Zuby's Taco Kitchen on Virginia Avenue, every other Tuesday. Check the site for the exact dates, and then come check us out. Come holler at us.